Hello, everybody. Welcome to another lesson in macroeconomics. Today, we're looking at aggregate supply. To be specific, the short run aggregate supply. In macroeconomics, in the short run, wages are fixed, or in other books, they say wages are sticky. I'm going to talk about this. Let me just first define aggregate supply. Aggregate supply is the total supply of goods and services by a nation. All right. So here we're looking at the businesses and the firms that are producing in a country, in within a country. All right. So all you have to remember is there is a positive relationship between the price level, all right, the price level of various goods and services. Because remember, this is macroeconomics, not in micro, it was just the price level of one good, but here's the price level of various goods and the quantity supplied. The quantity supplied of various goods, because this is macroeconomics. So there's a positive relationship between price level and quantity supplied. All right. Yeah. So now we're going to look at the reason why our short-run supply curve is upward sloping, and this the main reason is the sticky wage theory. All right, wages slowly change whenever there are changes in the economy. All right, the economy might be undergoing a recession, or maybe find inflation. There's rampant inflation within the economy, so wages are not going to change due to those changes within the economy. They will tend to stay the same. All right. So one thing you must realize is that when we say wages are sticky downwards, all right, it means your employer cannot reduce your wages or your salaries. Okay. If the economy is undergoing a recession, what they can do is just lay you off, but they cannot reduce your salary. All right. If they reduce your salary, you are not going to be as effective as you are at work. All right. And you are not even going to be more motivated at work, and that will be bad for the company. All right. And if there's inflation in the economy, you cannot also go to your employer and tell him to increase your wages just there and then. Right. You have contracts, and you on your contract, it shows you how much you'll be getting paid, or how much you'll be getting paid in the next maybe 2 years, 3 years. So your wages cannot change. That's because the prices of goods and services have gone up. That's what we mean about the sticky wage theory. All right. And since wages are sticky, all right, inflation erodes real wages. What we mean by inflation eroding real wages, let's say you receive your wages 100 kwacha a month, all right? Your total expenses for the month, let's say they are 60 kwacha, all right? 100 minus 60, 40 kwacha disposable income, which you can buy other things that you like or save. But now let's say there's inflation of 50% in the country, meaning the price of goods and services have all gone up by 50%, meaning your expenses also increased by 50%. So 50% of 60 is 30. 30 plus 60, it means your expenses are now increased to 90 kwacha, right? Wages are fixed, so they are not going to change. You should be getting your 100 kwacha. So 100 minus 90, this is 10 kwacha. That's your disposable income. All right. So this is what we mean that inflation erodes real wages. When we say real wages, it means adjustment for inflation. So when you adjust your real wages for inflation, it means your purchasing power, or even the amount of money you can save, or your disposable income reduces. All right. Now let's illustrate the positive relationship between price level and the quantity supplied. Let's say you're let's say let's since we're let's simplify this. All right, let's say the firms in Zambia that are selling maize. Okay, this is a very simple example. Firms in Zambia that are selling maize, right? Maize at first is being sold at 3 kwacha per maize cob. All right. Most firms are producing 100 bags of maize. Their revenue 100 times 3, 300 kwacha. That's revenue. All right. The wages which they pay their workers is 100 kwacha. 300 minus 100 kwacha, 200 kwacha profit. So firms that are selling maize, profit of 200 kwacha. Now let's say the firms are allowed to sell maize now at 5 kwacha. Okay. Remember, wages are fixed. Okay. Wages still stay fixed. All right. If this firm wants, they can still produce 100 units of, of maize cobs. Let's say 100. Yeah. 100 times 5, that is 500. 500 minus 100, profit is 400. Right. So have you seen the profit has increased? So now, if the firms want to increase production, let's say to 200, all right, let's see, 200 times 5, the revenue is going to be 1,000. It stays fixed. 1,000 minus 100, profit of 900 kwacha. So that's why when the price level of goods and services go up in a nation, firms that are producing those goods and services will be inclined to increase their production because they'll make more profit. Now let's look at the shifters of aggregate supply. All right. So the premise behind these shifters is we have to think of costs of production. All right. If costs of production become higher, firms would tend to supply less. If costs of production grow lower, firms would tend to supply more. So the first shift of aggregate, the short run aggregate supply is the price of raw materials and resources. If you're producing jerseys and the price of cotton goes up, all right, it means buy your raw materials becomes expensive. That means that's a higher cost of production. So you won't be inclined to produce as much as you want because you know that the price by buying more of the expensive jerseys, your cost of production will go up. So you'll be less likely to increase your supply, all right, if the price of your raw materials goes up. Right? But if the price of raw materials goes down, means you can buy more materials, you can supply more jerseys, all right? Raw materials wool in this case, you can buy more wool, you can supply more of the jerseys, all right? Yes. And then actions of government is another shifter, all right? If government imposes subsidies where they're offering financial aid to firms, firms tend to produce more. If government increases taxes, the cost of production gets higher, firms tends to produce less. That's why if government increases the taxes for mines, right, you see the mines are going to lay off the workers because costs of production have gone up. And the final shifter is technology. Better technology, more you can supply more. Old technology, you'll be supplying less. All right. So an increase in the price of resources. All right. If there's an increase in the price of resources, means cost of production go up. It means our short-run aggregate supply shifts to the left. This is a decrease in our aggregate supply. All right. Then let's say if there's government offers subsidies, financial aid to firms. Firms now can produce more. Our short-run aggregate supply increases. Thank you, colleagues, and we'll see you next time.